he went and pressed charges against her first to make it look like, you know, she was doing all this. And hey family, and welcome back to another episode on our true crime series. So this week we'll be talking about how a cult boyfriend basically threw his girlfriend in the trash can and set her body on fire. So Karabo Mokoena was born in March of 1995. Yes, March 1995 in South Africa. She was this loving and caring woman. She was really big into women's rights. She would even volunteer at a women's center and try to convince women to leave abusive relationships. She graduated from high school in 2014 and went on to pursue a career in business. So I know you guys are wondering how such a loving and caring woman could end up set ablaze in this trash can. All of that changed in 2016 when she ran into Sandile, who was known to be the successful man.
A very successful forex trader. He basically he lived in a lavish apartment as they described it. He had a fleet of nice cars, luxury cars. They said some of those were limited editions. He was the only one with some of these cars. So he was very successful, and he could actually show you that he was successful.
Right.
It just, the way he said he was successful really wasn't the way he was really successful. So basically, she met a guy October 2016. She thought this guy was the love of her life, and pretty much that's when everything changed. Karabo was known to have everything going for herself. She talked with a lot of women about their abusive relationships, giving them the strength to one day walk away from those relationships. Her parents said she had everything going for herself, and she ran into this guy, Sandile, in October of 2016, and she thought she met the love of her life at that point. So he basically told her, I'm a successful forex trader. He sold courses online. I believe they said they was for like 6,000 African dollars, which translated to about 600 US dollars, to where he showed people how to trade forex and just become successful and live a lavish life. Now, at some point, they end up hooking up together. They end up getting together, and 2 months into their relationship, she moved out of her parents' house and moved in with Sandile. Everything
He
was
dined her.
Yeah.
He wine and dined her, showed her the receipts. You know, he basically had receipts to all of his stuff, so it looks legit.
Yeah, and man, I mean, she thought she met the love of her life, and they took off after, I guess. So everything was going perfect. Like, they would have lavish dinners. They had friends. She had friends, and at one point she had a friend over, and they was going to drop a friend off at the airport, and he had asked to see her phone for some reason, and she had told him no for whatever reason, and he had actually showed out in front of her friend. He took her phone, he smashed the phone and broke it and things like that. And when Karabo asked him was he going to pay for the phone, he got real aggressive and started assaulting her, I guess even more in front of the friend. So the friend actually seen that. And 5 months into their relationship, she actually had to check into a hospital for her injuries from abuse. So she called her parents that night, and she basically told them everything that was going on, the things that he had did to her and things like that. And her mom and them basically wanted her to leave him. They described it as a horrible situation. They didn't have never seen anything like it. So they talked her into leaving him. She actually agreed to leave him, and she agreed that she was gonna move back in with them, and that she had got to a point to where she was gonna go downtown to the police and press charges on him and do the whole nine, basically. Like, he gonna pay for what he did. So when she got to the police station, she ran into a problem, basically, and the problem was she went downtown to press charges on him for abuse. And
once she got out the hospital.
Yeah, once she got out the hospital.
She went straight down to the police station to file charges. But to her surprise, he had already gone to the police station to file charges against her. he had a car, and at one point, he slammed her against the car or was choking her, and she slipped and fell in the car. And he went and told the police that she damaged his property. So he went and pressed charges against her first to make it look like, she was doing all this and there would be no allegations against him.
Everything just pretty much went bad. So
From there,
yeah, she agreed to leave him. She did all the nine. He done what he did. He tried to beat her to the punch, things like that. So they wasn't seeing each other anymore. I don't know how they ended up hooking back up, but I know at one point her and her girlfriends was out at a restaurant, and he ended up showing up out the blue. How he got their location, that is unknown, but he ended up showing up out the blue, and they got into a big fight at the restaurant in front of friends and things like that. And for some unknown reason, she ended up leaving with him, and they went back to his apartment.
yeah,
And that was unfortunately the last time she was seen alive.
alive. Yeah.
No one seen her after that. Nothing like that. At one point, she had called her mom. Well, her mom had called her at one point.
That night, on the way there, her mom called, and she was whispering on the phone, telling her mom, like, "Hey, I can't talk right now. I'll call you back." And
Unfortunately,
so her mom knew then something was wrong.
yeah. Unfortunately, that phone call never took place. It's on camera that her, Karabo, and Sandile went into the luxury apartment. They went up to his floor, and they went into the room. She went in, and he went in, but nowhere on camera it showed her leaving, but it showed him leaving.
Coming out, yeah.
So the parents called and called and called. When they didn't receive the phone call back, no answer. So at this point, they was pretty much worried for their daughter. So they drove over to the apartment complex because they knew where he lived, because she had been staying with him. So they drove over and they asked the front desk person that, have they seen their daughter, that she ain't been answering the phone. They looking for her. They can't find her, and they asked for her name, and they gave her. They said her name was Karabo Mokoena. So the security guy said that the guy that does the cleaning around the apartments, that said that he actually found a ID and a passport
yeah.
with the name of Karabo on it in a trash can on the third floor, which is where Sandile apartment was located. So at this point, everything is pretty much
starting to come together.
Yeah, and at this point they're very worried. So they called the police and things like that, and the police drove over. The police asked for this to search the apartment, but they wouldn't give them consent right away because it wasn't. You know what I'm saying? They didn't have enough. They had to get a search warrant, I believe.
Right.
They had to get a search warrant, maybe. They didn't have enough information to actually go right into the apartment, but they eventually got information, and they called him, and he actually answered the phone. The parents called him, and they asked where was their daughter, and you won't believe the first thing he said to the parents after picking up the phone and answering their question, where was their daughter at. I quote, he said, "I don't know where she is, but I didn't kill her."
Now, why would you say that if you didn't kill her?
That's crazy.
How do you know she's dead? I mean, you gave yourself away right then.
So the police got on the phone with him at some point, and they asked to speak with him. And he said he would speak with them, that he would meet them at the apartment. But it took him some time to actually get there. What he was doing at this point, I mean, we know that what he did. So at this point, we thinking maybe he was going to disregard and hide the body and things like that. But we don't know where he actually was at this point. So he ended up meeting them back at the apartment complex, and they asked to search the apartment, which he gave them consent to right away. Right. So they went in and searched the apartment, and they really didn't find much. I mean, it was some things, looked like a fight had taken place in there, but I mean, they said it could have been just like a messy apartment and things like that. But At one point, they
one
seen
thing stood out.
yeah, one thing stood out, and they said that it was a wet stain on the carpet. After they found the wet stain on the carpet, it tested positive for blood, which came back to be Karabo's blood. Yeah. So at this point, the cops had enough information and enough evidence that they needed to arrest him and charge him with whatever they charged him with at the time. I don't want to get the charges wrong, but they took him into custody, and they actually questioned him for hours, and they said that he confessed
to her.
Yeah, right away that he pretty much killed her, and for whatever reason, I don't think he said at the time, but he ended up taking that confession back, and he never signed the confession, so they couldn't actually use the confession in court because he never signed it for some reason. Now, after reviewing all the camera footage, they actually seen, they had to watch it for a long time, but they actually seen both of them going to the apartment together. At some point, he came out alone. He took a big trash can from the garage onto the elevator, took it up to his floor and into his apartment. And you could tell it was light the way he was pulling it. He went in. At this point, we know he put her body in it, and he actually brought the trash can back out, got on the elevator with it, and now he was headed out of the door on the garage level where his car was parked with a trash can that now seemed very heavy.
Yep.
So at that point, he went and he did away with her body at that point. So it's a lot of different reasons that he come up with why he did it. At this point, he was just lying, because at one point he said that he done it because they was both involved in a blood ritual, to where if they ever split it, that one of them had to die.
Sacrificed themselves, and one of them had to die.
Yeah,
she chose to be the one to die.
Yeah. And he ended up, it was a lot of different things he came up with. We don't know which one of them is true, but what we do know is he killed her and he was very abusive and he put her body into the trash can. And it was a lot of stuff came out
Also,
about him.
also, another crazy thing about him was he was a married man with 3 children that he didn't take care of. But he was portraying himself to be this single, super successful man. So it came out later that he was indeed married and he did have 3 children that he didn't take care of.
Yeah, so this is super crazy. He actually said he burnt her body, and he took the police to the location where he dropped the body at.
Yeah, the story went. It's super crazy how and why he did this to her. This beautiful young lady who has so much going for herself did not deserve this. I really hate that for not only her but for her family because she has such a bright future. And even when her mom went to the hospital, she begged her to leave him and told her like he's gonna be the death of you. Like, and it's crazy how he literally was the death of her even after she left him. It's super sad. It's super sad. Um, but yeah, we just wanted to shed light on her story. If you guys have any cases that you want us to cover, any true crimes that you want us to cover, please leave them down below in the comment section and we will definitely get to them. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and join the family. And leave us a comment. Let us know how y'all are doing. Let us know if y'all like our content. And we will definitely keep it coming. But yeah, we love y'all and we will see y'all in the next one.